Welcome to Recovering Addict. I'm your host, LT, and I'm an alcoholic addict.
I'm your co-host, Felice Weaver, married to an alcoholic addict.
This is your first time catching the show. This show is here to support you if you are still drunk and high, help you get clean, and if you are clean for years, this is an educational channel where we review books. We go through books that doctors have written so that we can educate ourselves on relapse prevention. It's a never-ending battle with us addicts to not ever use again. And on top of being abstinence, recovery is way more than that. It's taking care of your mind and becoming a better person and living life on life's terms and living life according to values and being a better and happier person for that. Getting rid of toxic people in your life if you have to, making boundaries if you have to, doing whatever it takes, closing all the back doors to get yourself into a good place in life so that you can stay in recovery. And we have a special guest tonight. Her name is Christy. She'll be backstage here in a second. But until she gets there, let's read our AA Thought of the Day real quick. It's June 25th or 24th. What's the date today?
24.
Is it 24?
Yeah.
All right. Alcohol is our weakness. We suffer from mental conflicts for which we look for escape by drowning our problems in drink. We try through drink to push away from the realities of life. But alcohol does not feed. Alcohol does not build. It only borrows from the future. No, it's not. We read this yesterday. And ultimately destroys.
Oh, it's the 25th today.
It is the 25th. My goodness, everybody.
Well, where were you on that one, Mark?
That was still good there. That's still good stuff there. All right, we're going to get through this thought of the day on June 25th this time because it is, well, it's the 26th in Australia. One of the most encouraging facts of life is that your weakness can become your greatest asset. Kites and airplanes rise against the wind. In climbing up a high mountain, we need the stony crags and rough places to aid us in our climb. So your weakness can become an asset if you will face it, examine it, and trace it to its origin. Set it in the very center of your mind. No weakness, such as drinking, ever turned into an asset until it was first fairly faced. Here's our question of the day. Am I making my weakness my greatest asset? Here's our meditation. Whenever we seek to worship God, we think of the great universe that God rules over, of creation and a mighty law and order throughout the universe. Then we feel the awe that precedes worship. I too must feel awe. Feel the desire to worship God in wondering amazement. My mind is in a box in space and time, and it is so made that I cannot conceive of what is beyond space or time, the limitless and the eternal. But I know that there must be something beyond space and time, and that something must be the limitless and eternal power behind the universe. I also know that I can experience that power in my life. Here's our prayer of the day. I pray that I may accept the limitless and eternal spirit. I pray that I may express itself in my life.
I love it.
How's everybody doing today in the chat? Like I said, we got us a special guest. She's backstage right now. We're going to pull her on. We're going to let her tell us her story of strength and hope, give us all her stuff. And you guys got any questions, throw them in the chat and I'll throw them up on the screen. But nevertheless, here we go. This is Christy.
Hello, everybody.
How are you?
Hello.
Long time no see.
Yeah, I know. It's been like 3 minutes since we were having a conversation of how hot it can be in Utah and in Texas this time of the year.
So right now you're sitting there and your air conditioner's gone out, so your house is probably like 90 degrees or more?
Yeah, yes, you could say that.
Oh, man.
Well, what you can't see is that I have a couple of fans around me because you don't live in Texas unless you own at least 4 fans in each home. It's a prerequisite to live in Texas. So
Right on. So you're down there in Texas, huh?
Yes.
Ooh-wee.
Love it. Nice and hot for you.
I couldn't live in a house. I told Felice we downgraded our cars and stuff, we're trying to save money and all that. But we were going to buy another car, and if it did not have air conditioning, I wouldn't buy it, period. End of story.
Yeah.
Absolutely no.
That's a no-go for me as well, friend. No.
Cool. Well, the floor is yours. I'm going to let you just go ahead and tell your story.
All right.
And then I'll jump in every once in a while to ask questions or whatever. So have at it.
All right. Cool. Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you so much for allowing me this platform to contribute really to the recovery world. And there's just not enough of us in this space. There are so many people who are suffering right now while I complain about my air conditioning in my cushy little house. There are millions and millions of men and women and children who are struggling with addiction. And so I just want you guys to know that I'm very grateful and honored to be here and to be a part of your show tonight. And for all of you guys who are joining in, hi, love you guys. I think my daughter might be joining us tonight. So that's exciting as well. So, but really, I would be remiss if I didn't say this as well. If you happen to catch this on a replay, either on YouTube or Facebook, and you are struggling and you are suffering, I want you to stop scrolling, and I want you to just take a few minutes to try and wrap your brain around the fact that you are worth recovery. And the reason I say that is because the last thing that I lost when I was deep in my addiction was hope. I had lost all hope that I could live a normal, healthy, happy life. I don't know that I was ready to end it all, but I was very, very close. And I felt like really just worthless and hopeless. And the beauty of the program of recovery that I've been working, I've been blessed to have been sober now for a little over 5 years. So that is by the grace of God. But I can tell you, I remember the absolute horror and hopelessness that I felt the day that I went into rehab, like it was yesterday. I still have, 5 years later, I still have vivid nightmares, not so much anymore. But the first few years, I had these very vivid nightmares, because if you're watching this and you are an addict, either in recovery or if you are currently using, you know what that feels like. You've been there and you know exactly what I'm talking about. It is just the bottom of the pit. And so, I want you to know, if nothing else comes from this broadcast tonight, if nothing else comes of it, if somebody out there finds hope for recovery, then that is all I'm here for. And I know that's all that these other guys are here for as well. Leonard and Felice have quickly become kindred spirits to me, because we all want the best for everyone who is addicted and living that horrible lifestyle that comes with it. So that was my prelude. Is that a word? I think
Beautiful.
That's a beautiful word.
It was beautiful.
It works. So we'll just go for it. We'll go with it. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no rewind button on here, right? So it's like, it's just stuck.
It's forever now. It's forever now.
It's forever
No
TV.
editing.
I love it. But you guys, I admire what you're doing. And for those of you who are my friends and family and those in recovery who are watching this, what you don't know about this wonderful couple is that they go live every single night from their living room. Now, if that's not commitment, I don't know what is. And so I don't want to tell their story. You got to go check them out and join their page, because they're an awesome, awesome couple. There's your little plug. I take Venmo. I take,
Yeah, all of that. That's awesome.
We snail mailed it. I'll be there in a couple weeks.
No, I'm joking. So, gosh, my story starts. I was telling Leonard this earlier when we did a little dry run of this. I said, I am a trainer by trade. It's what I do. I do these Zoom meetings, live in front of big groups of people. And I've done it for so long now, I don't get nervous anymore. I get excited or happy. But my stomach right now, talking about something that is so incredibly personal, is just in knots. So forgive me if I babble, but I'm going to do the best that I can. So
You're good.
you know, it started when, well, in 1970. No, I'm joking. I grew up in a whirlwind of chaos. Let's just start there. My childhood was chaotic. My parents got divorced when I was 3 years old, and my older sister and I were then just shoved around from different foster homes to different family members, and really what, you know, and the family members that reached out and took us in, bless their hearts, they did the best that they could. But I won't speak for my sister, but for me, I felt so unloved and I felt so worthless that why can't anyone love me just the way I am? What's wrong with me? So from a very early age, I didn't feel like I was lovable, right? And so I became what so many of us become in the addiction world. Social chameleons is the term it's dubbed, right? So basically what that means is I lose sight of who I am, or I never even learn who I am ever. And so I take on those people around me. So if we were in a Christian home, it was, oh, I could be the best little Christian girl and put on the Sunday best and sit in the pew and be a good little girl to earn your love. But then if we were with, you know, one family member was very liberal and we could kind of do what we wanted to. And so I would take that and be that. And so again, I learned at a very early age to just to pretend to be anything but me, because I'm not lovable. That was the mindset that I had at a very early age. And so leading into the teenage years, of course, that mindset did not serve me well. I wanted, if I was around the cheerleaders, I wanted to be a cheerleader. If I was around the thugs and the whatever they were called back then, I wanted to be just like them. And again, as a teenager, that becomes a very dangerous road to go down, because I was so easily influenced. And quite frankly, I was so easily influencing others, because at this point I'd learned how to manipulate at a very early age. I learned to manipulate, and again, that would not serve me well long term. So I got married, because at 21 years old, everybody knows everything in the world, duh, right? So I get married at 21 years old, and I really thought that this was forever. I married this person thinking that we were gonna just have the white picket fence and live happily ever after. But what I brought into that marriage was a whole host of abuse background, horrible control issues from those around me, being called names and all of these things. I went into this marriage completely ill-equipped, and I had no idea how to manage emotions. I had no idea how to be a friend, much less be a wife and a mother. I became a mother when I was 23. I had my sweet, precious little daughter. I hope she's on here. And I thought for sure that that's what I had always needed, was someone to care for, because I had been thrown away in my childhood. But if I have this tiny little creature who depends on me. So that's going to fix me. Now I'm going to be fixed, right? All the chaos in my head, all the addictive tendencies, all of the manipulative ways that I had become, I thought all of that was going to be fixed because now I'm a mom. So that fixes everything. Now everyone will see me and love me because I'm caring for this little human being in the best way possible, right? But I wasn't healed from any of the past trauma. And so now I'm bringing all that past trauma into my mothering abilities. And although I did everything I knew, I tried my very, very best with her. But at some point, my old demons came back, and it was horrifying. And I didn't know how to not be the person that I was inside. And I didn't know how to stop these thoughts of, I just want to get out. I want to claw myself out of this home. This home is too nice. My life is too perfect. I can't deal with this because I don't deserve it, right? This is the narrative in my head. Because remember, I don't think that I'm worth anything. At the core of my being, I feel worthless. And so how that manifests in my life is I throw away those things which are true and good and beautiful, because inside I feel so ugly, right? And so a few years into the marriage, my daughter's she's 3 years old, and I can't take it. I have to, it's too much. There are other issues that I will not go into for everyone's sake, but I had to get away. That's my part in it. I had to get away. And when I did that, I lost my daughter in that situation. I lost her. And I became extremely enraged and angry and self-seeking at this point and self-indulgent. And I'm going to be a little graphic here, but I went off the deep end. I started going out. I was partying. I was doing every kind of drug, alcohol I could get my hands on, because I could not live with the fact that I lost my daughter. Even though, and this took a long time for me to accept, even though really I was the one who pushed it all away. I've never admitted that in a public forum. Nothing like, no time like the present, right? But I wouldn't learn these facts about me until I got sober and I worked a program of recovery. At the time, I thought, what an evil human being this must be to take my daughter from me. Now she is almost 23 years old, and I am so grateful that her father was able to provide for her a stable home. I look back on it now, and gosh, I moved 4 times in 1 year, because in my 20s, because here's the deal. For me, I had to always move. I was always a drunk because of you, because the boyfriend broke up with me. The job sucked. The boss was horrible. The this, the that. It was always someone else's fault. Always someone else's fault. And my solution was to run away. I would change cities. I would change locations. Whatever I could do to get away, to start over with a new group who didn't know how worthless I was being.
So I want to just clarify and back up just a hair, just to get a timeline. When you had your daughter, okay, so as I can relay, all addicts, we have such low self-esteem, and we're trying to gain that love. Is that when you started your addiction and drinking and then had your daughter, and what age,
No,
what ages and stuff are we talking here?
You don't have to give your age. When I was 16 years old, I had my first drink of alcohol, and I drank alcoholically from the first time I ever drank alcohol.
Okay.
I became a blackout drunk anytime I would. There was never just a one. Oh, there's my angel. Hi, baby. Yeah, it was from the time I could get my hands on it at 16, going forward. Anytime I was drinking in that period in my life, I was a full-on drunk. So when I got divorced, that's when it hit hard. That's when I went clubbing into the bars and drank every single night as a blackout drunk. That's when it really ramped up. I couldn't deal with the pain. And so I just did it. I didn't care. I was drinking and driving, putting everyone's lives at risk. I didn't care. Essentially, I was suicidal with my behavior. I didn't have a gun to my head, but I was driving every night, completely drunk. I would wake up and go, is my car here? Like, what, did I drive? And that was more often the case than not. And I'm not saying that because I'm proud of it, but man, God had a plan for sure, because I should be either dead or in prison for my behavior, without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Without a doubt.
I can relate to that. So when you say you lost your daughter, is that just a custody thing? And her dad, she went and lived with her dad?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then that's when you
I should have clarified. I didn't lose her to, the aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
21.
Yes. Her dad provided a stable home for her.
Right.
Thank goodness that he was that. And then he married, shortly after he married this beautiful woman that we basically co-parented my daughter growing up. She's a wonderful woman. I think she's on here somewhere. And so I'm very, very thankful that she had them both, actually.
So then he has your daughter, and that's when all hell breaks loose with you. It's party time.
Oh yeah. I went and bought a convertible. I was like, it was a midlife crisis in my mid-20s. It was just crazy. And I'm so not proud of it. But I hope that people can relate to it. As I got a little bit older, pardon me, the consequences started increasing for sure, because I was not slowing down. The industry that I'm in, was very much then, and still is very much, a party central industry for the most part, and not so much anymore, but it definitely was back then. And so it was part of the culture. We all partied together, we all worked together, and we spent half our day laughing at just how stupid we were the night before. And it was so funny. It never crossed my mind that what I was doing would ever lead to addiction, ever. And, I was fully functional. I was going to work. I mean, if I'm honest, I was still a little bit drunk most of those days, but I went in on some kind of sleep. But the drugs and alcohol it just started taking over, and I would black out for 3 days straight. I wouldn't even know what city I was in, or how we got there, or what was going on. And these are some things that my daughter doesn't, she knows now. But I mean, waking up, and this is a little raw, but waking up going, who are you and where am I? Literally, that's just not a way to live. But we all thought it was so funny. It was hilarious until it wasn't.
Yep.
And when I was in my 30s, I moved to, I had been in really nice apartments my whole 20s and 30s, right? And so I moved to this fancy high rise in downtown Dallas, and I'm going to be the marketing person there, and it's exciting, and it's fancy, and it's glamorous, and oh my gosh, it ended up being the biggest nightmare, and it would be the beginning of the end for me. When I first moved into that building, I I recognized, and I'm not going to get all weird, like spiritual or whatever, but I will say that there was a feeling that you walked into this place and it was riddled with drug dealers, not drug addicts. We're talking about very high, I don't know what you call it, people you just don't mess with, right? Prostitution, you name it. It was going on in that building. It was just a free for all. And I had been somewhat sheltered from that, believe it or not. I had my club life that was very, very separate from my professional life. And I lived in the suburbia, and that's where I managed and worked. And then all of a sudden I was in downtown with some people who did not play. And I ended up, there was two guys that actually, and I don't want to get too graphic, but two guys that fell out of the building within a week's time. And one of them I saw, and it was extremely graphic, and that's all I'm going to say. And something happened that day. I was super hungover at 6 a.m. when it happened.
Fell out of the building?
Yeah, from the 26th floor.
My uncle saw that in Vegas once. I know what you're talking about.
Oh dear. I would never subject anyone on this broadcast to what I saw, but it did something to me. That, looking back on it now, that was the turning point. It did something to me. I became, I had PTSD from it. I don't know how else to say it. Like, I was completely just out of my mind, and I had to leave work. I had to leave work for some time. I couldn't function. I had to go get Xanax, I mean, I was a mess. And I would never go back to the type of career that I had before until recently. This was, oh my gosh, how long was this? This was 11 years ago. Yeah, 11 years ago when this happened. And for the next few years, I ended up in this crappy apartment complex, going from, the high end place downtown to the only place I could find a job, because I was so shaky every day, all the time. The only place I could find a job was this crappy, dilapidated old place. But I didn't care. And so I moved in and I just drank. I drank a box of wine would last me maybe a day or two. And that is a lot of wine. A lot of wine. And I was losing my mind. I felt like, in our program, we learned about people who end up having alcohol brain. I felt like that I was very, very close to that. I couldn't remember anything. Everything was weird. I was having delusions. I was drinking. I couldn't not drink, and I couldn't drink anymore. Trying to put the liquid in my mouth, I would just, not to be too graphic, but I would just gag, and it was just this cycle of horror. I had to drink a little bit. I had to get it in my system so I wouldn't shake so violently and feel like I was going to die. So now my life has gone from the fun, partying, to now I'm drinking to live instead of living to drink. And I was, at that point, I lost my job because they want you to show up when you get a job. Like, they want you to show up every day.
Imagine that. That's weird.
Not weird. So they want you to show up every day, not hungover and on time, which is just completely absurd. So I lost that job, and I realized at that point that yes, wet brain. Thank you, Lori. That's exactly what it is. I was very close to that. So I went to detox. I went in for 3 days. I still didn't know anything about a program. I didn't know anything about AA. So I'm in there for 3 days, and I think I'm fixed, right? Because I'm not the shaking shell of a person that I was when I went in. So fast forward, I was scared straight for almost 3 years. Now, I was what we call in the program a dry drunk, because I was not a happy person. I was definitely not happy. And everything inside of me wanted to drink, but I knew I couldn't, because I remember what it was like to almost die. And I was like, what is wrong with me? why can't I feel like a normal person? And the day finally came where someone said, Christy, it's been almost 3 years. Why don't you just drink one of those cute little bottles of wine? You know how they come in the little 4-pack? Aren't they cute? Yeah, they're not cute. They're not cute. Because what I did to my body is I'm allergic to alcohol. And as soon as I put alcohol into my body will crave that until I give it what it craves. And so for me, that didn't happen overnight. And I was like, see, my life I'm good. I'm good to go. Nothing happened that day. So then it became, well, I'll just drink on the weekends. I'll make sure that I monitor. Okay. I'll only have the small bottle of wine and I'll drink that and I'll be fine on Friday and Saturday nights. I'll be a normal person, right? I'll be a normal adult that has a cocktail in the evening.
That's what happened to me exactly.
No. Sisters and brothers, that is not what happened. So I was able to fool myself for a little while. And then I could start to feel that feeling from before. Like I would overeat the next day, or I would just have that raging headache. And by the way, I was not getting any younger. And so the headaches and the hangovers were like 2 days long. It was horrible. And so I started feeling like, oh my God, this is exactly what happened before. I'm going down this road. But at that point, it was too late. There was nothing I could do to stop it. I was completely powerless over it. I was like, oh my gosh, no, there's no way my life could ever be that way again. And I'm telling you right now, within less than a year, I was face down in the bathroom on the hard, cold tile, begging God to take my life. I didn't want to live anymore. I didn't know how to die, but I knew that I was exactly where I was. And worse, I couldn't eat. I couldn't drink water. I was literally going to die. I was gray. You guys saw my picture. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. And at this point I was taking pills on top of it because the alcohol wasn't enough. And I didn't want to overdrink because at this point I'd had my son and he was tiny at this time. So I couldn't be drunk, but I could take a pill. This is my thought process, right? I can take a pill because it'll just level me out. But if I get drunk, that's not a good mom, right? But I can take pills and be a good mom, right? What? Like, I was doing the best that I could with the information that I had at the time. And I finally got to that point. I shouldn't say finally, very quickly got back to that point where, again, I was face down and I said, God, if you will take this away from me, I will do whatever you say. I will go wherever you say. I will do whatever it takes to not feel this way anymore. And I got on my phone and I called for help. And I don't even know how I ended up where I ended up. All I know is that they said, get yourself to detox. I detoxed at a facility for 5 days. And then the lady looked at me because this was the same detox I was at 3 years prior. She looked at me and she said this. She said, if you don't get help, if you don't do something different, and she was very close to me, you're going to die, or you're going to or your son and your daughter will get to visit you behind bars. Your choice. She didn't play. And you know what? I thought, she's mean. But I needed that. I needed someone to not only be that direct with me, I needed someone to show me the way out and to tell me there was hope. Because I was so scared to leave detox. I thought, I have to go out there where they serve alcohol on every street corner. I have to go out there where it's normal at my job for people to invite me for a cocktail. How am I going to live? How am I going to live like this? And they sent me. Now, here's some irony for you. I ended up in a rehab in Las Vegas, Nevada. I got on a plane after detoxing for 5 days, and I did not drink anything on the plane. I did not drink in the airport where it screams, drink me, you know, all over the place. I had tunnel vision because I desperately wanted to live, and I desperately wanted to live a different life. And if these people could show me how to do it, I would have flown to the moon. I didn't care. God gave me hope that day on the bathroom floor. And when I tell my story, and I say this, God love my home group. They've heard it a million times, but I can still smell what this tile smelled like. I can still feel that cold feeling on my face. And I remember what it was like to not want to breathe anymore. And so when I got there, I gave it everything I had. They said, you can sleep for the first, 10 days if you want. You're a newbie, whatever they called it. I said, no, because I'm away from my children for 30 days. You tell me how to live my life without being a drunk. And I will go to every one of your classes and I will listen to everything you have to say. And thankfully, I went to an AA-based, sorry, probably can't say that. Oh, sorry.
No, you can.
You're good.
We're not AA or NA affiliated, but we highly believe in that program and we totally promote it. So it's all good.
So it's my story, right? So I'm just
Your
telling you
story.
my part of it. I listened to everything they said. I took notes like the biggest bookworm you've ever seen. I wanted so desperately to live a life. I wanted to see my daughter graduate high school. I wanted to see her graduate college, which I've gotten to see both of those things in the past 5 years.
Yes.
And I've been able to, I said gotten, didn't I? Yeah. English is my second language sometimes. I've been able to watch, my son has never seen his mom drunk and he just turned 8. When I was drinking before when he was tiny, it was always when he was in bed. My son has never seen me drunk. How cool is that? Like, okay, I'm kind of all over the place, but bear with me here. When I was in the treatment center, there were ladies there who talked about being sober for 6 months, a year, 5 years. And I couldn't believe that some of these ladies in there had been sober for 5 years. I was like, how on earth did you do it? I want what you have. Teach me what you've done. Tell me what you've done. Introduce me to this God that you talk about in these meetings. I'm game. God and I, we kind of went sideways because I ran away. Because I didn't want any part of religion. I didn't want any part of God. I didn't want any part of God because God didn't want me to live the life I was living. But what I have found in recovery is a God of mercy, and my God is a God of compassion and love and everything that's good. Not the God that I thought he was, that was here to shake his finger at me and tell me every rotten, dirty thing I'd ever done. That's not the God that I found. And that's not the God that found me when I needed it the most. And so it's been a miracle. It's been an absolute miracle to, and you know what's beautiful is I get to watch people come in, because I am a part of AA and I do go to meetings regularly, several times a week. But I get to watch these ladies. I get to watch them come in looking just like I did on that picture, and worse. I get to see them. I mean, I get to watch them turn into these flowers. Like, it sounds so cheesy and frou-frou-y, but like I get to watch these women, their eyes come alive again. Like they get these bright eyes and their faces, they start to, when we come in, our face is down. We don't dare look anyone in the eye because we're worthless and we're hopeless and we have no direction. And life has beaten us up, and we've beat ourselves up, and we've put ourselves in these toxic situations over and over and over again. The men, the women, the abuse, the self-hate. We don't look at anybody. We look down because we can't look up until someone tells us that we're worth recovery. And they show us with their actions. And they invite us to be a part of their world and their group and the tribe. That's what this is. It's called a tribe for a reason. It's the tribe of recovery. And you know what? Whether you're AA, NA, freedom this, freedom, it doesn't matter which road you decide to take for sobriety. Pray about it. Pray about it. Even if you don't believe in God, you don't have to. Just pray. Say a quick prayer. Say, listen, whoever you are, wherever you are, if you love me, show me the way. And I can promise you, I'm not someone special here. I'm not. I'm just another drunk that was shown the way out by those people who paved the road before me. But I'm not anyone special. I'm an instrument that God uses in this world to help those who are struggling and help those that are suffering to be able to lift their head up and look people in the eyes again and to be able to have their children with them and to be able to learn how to be a friend and learn how to be a brother or a sister or an aunt or an uncle or whatever it is. You matter in this world. You have a purpose. I know it may not seem like it right now. I remember I was there. But if you're watching this right now, just know that you are worth recovery. And don't let anyone else tell you any differently. If I, a low bottom drunk, can find a way to recovery, then anyone can. I was this close to being homeless and losing my son just like I'd lost my daughter. This close, I'm telling you. Days maybe. If you're watching this and you've lost hope, please, I beg of you, reach out to Leonard, reach out to Felice, reach out to me, whoever. Reach out to one of us, because I can guarantee you we know where to send you. We have the resources, and we will fight for you until you are strong enough to fight for your recovery. That's what this is all about. That is what this entire show is about. And that's what my story is about.
That's awesome.
You take a little break here.
You take a break. I'm going to play Cassie's motivational quote real quick.
Okay.
Hey guys, I'm here today with your motivational quote on recovering addicts. No medicine cures what happiness cannot. And as always, you guys know what to do. Let's bring it together and continue to spread that love.
Amen.
Thank you, Cassie.
People are loving your story and relating a ton.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. You know what? That's what this is all about. It's about sharing. When I first got sober, I wanted to scream it from the rooftops. Like I wanted to, when the lights finally came back on, I thought to myself, what platform can I use? Like, can I just go scream it from, I don't know, the tallest building in downtown Dallas? How I wanted to help every single person I came in contact with. And so 5 years ago, yes, YouTube was available and Facebook was up, but here's the deal. 5 years ago, this type of discussion online was not widely accepted. Believe it or not, it was not. There were a few recovery groups on Facebook and definitely some YouTube channels and this and that, but it still wasn't talked about as raw as it needs to be talked about, and as raw as it's being talked about now.
I agree. I think that's something that's important, is us getting up here and breaking that stigma, because a lot of people, I think, would enter recovery sooner or admit a relapse sooner if the stigma wasn't so great. It's already hard enough to reach out for help, but if you feel like you're going to be belittled and criticized and stuff, that makes it worse,
Absolutely. Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. And I'm so thankful for you guys.
We're thankful for you too.
Yeah.
And we're part of our group now. I'm part of your group, and we'll just continue to connect and grow together. I love it. Everybody, if you have any questions, throw them up there and I'll put them on the screen if you have anything you want to ask or say. Bob says, thank you, Christy.
Oh, you're welcome, Bob.
And Bob cranked up his speaker. He has speakers. He has addicts in the house, so he makes sure that they hear all these kind of stories. And also, I want to shout out, I got an email from the Sawyer House. They can't comment on their phones right now, but the Sawyer House, we know you're watching, and we're glad that you're a part of this and hope that you got some inspiration out of this too. The Sawyer House is a rehab center in Arizona that watches this as a group in their facility.
How awesome is that?
Yeah.
I love it.
There's a lot of people, more than the numbers show. There's people that watch in groups and rehabs that are definitely needing to hear what you just said. So that is so cool.
Oh, if we have just a second here, let me tell you that
Yeah, plenty of time.
I've already shared this with you guys, but the great irony of getting sober in Las Vegas, of all places, when I got out of rehab and I got a wonderful job. My job was as a traveling trainer, right? And so they said, we have a cluster of properties in Las Vegas. We'd like you to go there. Can you leave next week? And I was like, by myself? Like, in my mind, of course, I was thinking, oh God, are you serious? Is this some kind of joke up there? Like, is this the laugh of the day? Like, what are you doing? And it was, of all places, I went to Las Vegas by myself for 3 days. But it never, I had seen, I could not unsee what I saw in recovery and in myself and in others. And so thankfully I did not touch anything there, of course. And I was able to go back and tell my story. And again, I was only 45 days out of rehab. And so I was able to go back and tell the ladies my story there. There's about 100 ladies. And so that was really cool to go do that.
So when you go, do you go out of town often?
Not so much anymore. But I used to, yeah.
Would you hit AA meetings out of town and stuff?
Oh yeah, I was for several months. I had this job that was it wasn't exactly I didn't fit in there as well as I'd like to, but it was I was traveling all over the place, and so I went to AA meetings in almost every city. So from the northwestern, the Panhandle, California, Seattle, yeah, you name it.
Awesome. Yeah, we're going to Vegas in September for 3 days. And I definitely want to hit an AA and NA meeting while I'm down there if there's still, COVID.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, text me before you guys leave and I'll hook you up with some people there for sure.
Oh, cool. Heck yeah.
Hey, what's your group called?
Mine?
Yeah.
Oh, it's called Escape from Ego.
Escape from Ego. That's a good name.
Yeah, I'm gonna start going live again. You guys have inspired me to go live and just get more active on the page. I was really active with it when I first started the page.
Yeah, I think you should. And the reason that we decided to go live. YouTube was just a hobby for me, and I was just, I'd make a video a week or whatever. And then once AA and NA and all that shut down, and I saw isolation and all that kind of stuff, I was like, let's go live and let's build a community. And now the way the world's looking, and it's only seems to be getting worse, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think it's important if we can have as many people out there going live that can, speak on recovery and just be like what I say about us is we're not up here to be the recovery gurus and try to, popularity contests. We're a bridge to a community of recovering people that just, so there's always support. We got Australians in the comments. One thing that Des brought up, he's one of the guys from Aussie, our family in Australia. When it's nighttime here, it's daytime there. So if you're struggling here during the night, you can reach out on Facebook and talk to our Aussie friends and vice versa. So it's really special, I think. Real Talk Recovery, she's another one. She goes live every night too. She goes live a lot talking about recovery, and she's really supportive. And her niche is the MAT, people who are on maintenance medications to help them get off severe heroin and all that kind of stuff. And she's awesome. And that's our boy John right there.
Hey, John.
Oh, I'm gonna sneeze. No, maybe not.
No, just kidding.
You talk.
Hey, girl. Hey.
I want to just laugh at you trying to sneeze.
Oh man, we got
that's
allergies
funny.
out here in Utah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's so bad.
You know what though? It's crazy because if I go to the store or something and I sneeze, I'm like, it's just allergies. I promise.
Yeah.
It's terrifying. I like coughed in the store the other day, and everybody's like looking, and they're like, "I'm like, it's the corona."
Thank you guys. Thank you for blessing me. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Teresa. I'm glad you were able to join some of these.
Hey, Misty, how you doing? Good to see you.
Yeah, bird.
Murd's up in the house. We just got some people rolling in saying hello. Yeah, you guys, you'll have to go back and listen to her story. It was pretty amazing, pretty touching. And it's kind of funny how, well, I guess it's not funny, but your story relates a ton to mine. Because I was scared straight from a meth addiction due to jail and all that stuff before I had kids and a wife. And then I started being really responsible. My credit score went through the roof, bought a house, was really physically fit, completely abstinent from any mind-altering drugs. And then when I was 33, it was like, yeah, I could drink. I think what I started drinking, if you remember, was those tequila sunrises.
I remember.
And I started drinking tequila sunrises on, barbecues. And then I was like, oh, I can have a couple here and there. And then by the time I hit 40, it was a fifth a night, gallons on the weekends, black out, drunk.
Yeah, before that, it was just Coronas on the weekends.
Yeah.
But the tequila sunrises, that's.
Yeah, that's when I switched to the hard liquor.
Hey, Misty.
Awesome.
It is a trick.
Is it
Cutting,
good?
baffling, and powerful, that alcohol.
Oh, my goodness. So what are some of the triggers? You're 5 years sober.
Yeah.
So it obviously has taken its, what do you call it? Triggers, and, you've had your hard times, ups and downs. How do you get through those types of things?
Well, I get through it by remembering just how well, twofold. For one, I remember just how awful it was, and just how quickly my life spiraled that second time. But who wants to go around their whole life being scared, right? Like, that's no way to live. And so what I have found in working a program of recovery and with God's help is that I don't have to depend on myself anymore. And that's probably a big reason why I named my group Escape from Ego, because believe it or not, my ego was huge. Even though my self-esteem was super low, just like a lot of ours, our ego is huge, self-esteem low. Go Google that one, right? Like, blows your mind. But I have God to depend on now. I'm no longer, here's the deal. This is the deal. I wipe my hands of it. Like, God, this is crappy. Like, I don't like this at all. This sucks. But you know what? I'm not in charge of the decisions anymore because I gave my life over to God, to the care of God, which means God takes care of me, right? He takes care of us. And so the beautiful part of recovery was learning that I don't have to be in control anymore because I sucked at it anyway. Let's be honest. But I gave my life over to the care of God, and I said, when I said that prayer that we say in the program that I work, I meant it. And I said, God, I offer myself to you. Use me as you will. And that means in the small things, like, I don't know, God, I'm driving down the road and I could go this way and maybe get there faster, or I could go this way. I don't know. Which way should I go? Those tiny little decisions that are just minuscule, that don't even matter in life, right? Even the small ones, I'm like, I don't know. Not me. God, what you got? What are we doing here? You know what I mean? And so that way, when the huge things come, like right now, I'm buying a house. Me?
Right?
Like, hold on a second. Was that me? Like, hold on a second. I mean, me? Do they know who I am? No, I'm just kidding.
No, I feel that.
I'm in the process of buying a home, something, and I never dreamed that would happen. I did not dream big enough because my dreams were shattered. I had no hope. Of course, I didn't have dreams or goals. I had no hope, right? And so when I got into the program of recovery and God took over my life, I don't have to sweat it. Here's a perfect prime example. My real estate agent texted me yesterday, real short story. She texts me and says, closing's been pushed for a week and a half. The seller doesn't want to extend. So basically what she was saying is we could be back at square one when we're this close to closing. Where's my camera? Right there. Right? And I was like, the old me would have been like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Everything, life is horrible. Oh, poor me. I don't know where that voice just came from, but we'll go with it. Yeah. But I didn't. And that's the life I get to live today. I get to say, God, if that's not the house for you, that's not the house. It's not the house for us. This is your deal. This is all your deal right here. All of it. So the big things, the little things, all of it's all yours. So that was a long way of answering your question. I don't have to sweat it anymore because I'm no longer in charge.
Acceptance and powerlessness.
Yes.
So
the great oxymoron of recovery is you have to completely submit to gain control of your life.
Yeah, oxymoron.
Or to gain your life back, I should say. That makes sense.
Amen.
Yeah.
I totally agree. So what do you think in a lot of the step work that we do in my group, we always get the question, name 10 benefits from working the steps or 10 benefits from being sober. Can you rattle 10 off the top of your head?
Oh my gosh, how much time do you have? I mean, I'm here all night. I get to have an amazing job that I love, and I love what I do, and the people I work with are amazing. It's a beautiful culture where I work. So I get to, not that I have to get up and go to work every day. I get to go to that job. I get to be a present, engaged mom with my son who has special needs and needs me to be present. I get to, and these are in no certain order. Let's be clear. I get to be in my daughter's wedding in September. Get to be the bride's mother, standing up there next to my gorgeous, beautiful daughter and the sweetest son-in-law that I'm about to gain. I get to be an influence on other people who are dying and desperate and just need help. I get to be healthy. I get to eat full meals. I couldn't do that when I went to rehab. I remember sitting in rehab the first time I could eat a bite. I went, oh, this is a miracle. That's the kind of drunk I am, right? I get to drink water. I get to take care of myself. And you know what? I get to eat chocolate when I want to, because chocolate is life. Okay? There's that. But I get to be alive, and I get to be sober, and I get to be engaged in life, and I get to show other people the road that I'm on, in hopes that they can find some relief and some happiness. Was that 10? I think so.
That was perfect. Exactly how I feel. And I think the more we think about the positivity and recovery, it's easier to uglify the addiction.
Man, yes. That was so good last night when you were talking about that.
But that was a mind opener for me when I read that chapter. Just the lesser of two is where you're going to go. And that's the thing about working your program and staying, like, who was it that put in the comment? I think it was Derek, or no, Chad, said that he knows a lady that's 45 years sober and still goes to AA. Because if we ever get on the road to relapse and the lesser of two evils becomes drinking or using, then we're going to do that, because that's the way human nature is. We're like water. We find the easiest path.
Yep, that's exactly true. That's exactly right. Without a doubt. I'm living proof, and so are you.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it.
Yes, John, I love that. Yes. Sustainable health.
Ashley Meredith. She says, awesome.
Hey,
Yeah, you're
Ashley?
Oh, Michael Teeter's here. He just woke up.
Teeter's awake.
What up, Michael?
He's awesome. What are you at now, Teeter? 110 days or so? Can't remember exactly.
Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah. So 5 years of sobriety. Where do you see yourself in another 5 years?
Oh my goodness, are we in a job interview? You're killing me, Leonard. No. I have found in my life that, see, here's another thing as an alcoholic. I like to be, I don't like to be just a worker at my job, right? I gotta be the top dog, right? And so I struggle with that. Humility is something that has served me well over the past 5 years. And so it's kind of crazy. So at work, I used to be one of those that was like, I got to be the best or nothing at all. And now I'm like, how can I serve others? So the AA philosophy in my personal life absolutely is a part of my work life too. And I want to pour into people instead of me, take, you know, instead of I got to be top dog. It's how can I, and I'm a trainer. So my job is just that. It's to help other people be successful at their jobs. And so it's awesome. Like, I get to help these people be better at their job. How cool is that?
That is
cool.
5 years from now, I just, I'd like to see myself. I love my job, so I'd still like to be in the same role at the same job. I would like to know that my story has helped people. I hope that our stories are spread far and wide, and that they permeate the homeless, the addicted, the hopeless. So you know what? I have goals, but I need to write a book. I need to finish writing my book. God, I can't believe I said that, because now it's recorded.
I'll send it to you.
I would like to have my book published in less than 5 years, and in hopes that it can help others to.
Melissa, she doesn't have a YouTube channel. She has a Facebook group, and we'll post that link in the description again. And from what we understand, she's going to start going live as well. So.
Yes, you have inspired me. So really, it's really, I hate to, this is going to sound trite, but it's really up to God.
Absolutely.
I don't have goals of writing my book and things like that, but I no longer say in my life, I have to be top this or top that, or I'm going to not be successful. My self-worth no longer comes from anything in this world.
Your
so I
identity
don't have
is
to
not
be top
here.
dog of anything.
Yeah.
You know? So that's where my mindset is anyway.
Absolutely. That's your identity, right? Your identity is no longer on these worldly possessions and who you can try to make people think you are. And the reason I asked that 5-year question is because I feel like me and you have a lot in common personality wise. And
Yeah.
I'm looking 5 years down the road, and as ambitious as I am in recovery, I just know that you probably have some vision out there that you're going to strive to achieve. And because our minds don't sit still, that's what gives us that. I got to be the best at work, and I'm going to figure out everything out. I'm going to make sure everything runs smooth. If there's problems, I can solve them, you know.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and with a new recovery mindset, my goal is to head down that direction with our vision, and which is awesome because when you're in that type of recovery, you don't have time for petty stuff. You're just out bringing positivity and love and peace to the world, you know.
Right. Well, I definitely, I would like to hone my craft of public speaking, and I'd like to go down that road.
Yep. Just like Aubrey and his
I know.
Oh, hey, Christy, say this for me. Aubrey, where's that YouTube video?
Aubrey. He all of a sudden at work now. He just bounced.
He's out of here.
See ya.
Having an open mind and working inside and out. Amen, John.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, well, we got all night. Neither one of us have to work tomorrow. So anything else you want to talk about, we're down. I could keep asking you questions all night, too.
Oh,
So-
great. No, I'm kidding.
We'll know your whole life story.
No, I'm good. I probably need to put my son to bed at some point. You know, I mean, being the good mom and all that I am now.
Aubrey is not available. So one more question. One more question real quick. So 5 years, how many times have you worked the steps?
So good question. I am in the 3rd round of working my steps. I've had some unfortunate incidents happen. Not anyone's fault at all. One of my sponsors moved, and so I just literally got a new sponsor. She's only the 3rd sponsor I've had in 5 years, so that's a good thing. But we are set to meet very soon. So, and you know, COVID kind of put a squash on the whole thing. But I truly wholeheartedly believe, at least for me, that I need to work the steps. I don't know what the number looks like, if it's once a year, if it's once every 2 years. All I know is that the information that's shared when you do the steps the first time is very vastly different the second time that you share that you go through them, and so will the 3rd time be as well. And so I look at my and those of us in the AA or NA program will get this. I look at my 4th step, right, like from the first one, and I'm like, oh God, like I sure was an angry little bird. And so, yeah, I don't know. I can tell you that for me, when I start to feel squirrely, and I know myself well enough to know that now, then I know that it's time to get to work. I know that about myself. And I only know that because I surround myself with those in recovery and, for me, those that are working a program of recovery, not just the meeting attenders. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah. You got to work the program. It works if you work it, right?
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah.
We ain't scared.
No, you want to frighten one, Aubrey.
I'm not scared.
Well, right on. Anything else you want to add to the last bit?
No, not really. Just like I mentioned before, if you're watching this, whether live or on a replay, there is no accident that you're watching this right now. It is not by accident. You're worth recovery. You're worthy. It doesn't matter what you've done in your life. It doesn't matter how many years you've been out there. It doesn't matter if you're watching this and you're on the street corner. It doesn't matter if you're watching this in a trap house. It doesn't matter if you're watching this, I don't know, do they have these in prison? I don't know. It doesn't matter.
I wish.
If you're watching this in the penthouse of where I used to work, or in New York City in the penthouse, the bottom line is it doesn't matter. Because if you relate to this and you know what it's like to feel that hopeless, then go back and press play again, and then get help. Get help. Reach out to one of us and get the help that you deserve.
Amen. I agree. Well, thank you for coming to the channel and spreading hope. And I love having speakers come on. I get to hear stuff that I need to hear. And sometimes, like what this one guy said, Steve, sometimes it's your turn to talk and sometimes it's your turn to listen. And I love listening.
Well, I appreciate you guys, and you're doing a wonderful service there for addicts, people in recovery, going live every night. It's amazing what you're doing. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. And we're going to stay connected for sure. We'll all grow together because we recover better together.
That is true. Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Yeah, thank
you
you,
have a good
Christy.
night. We'll see you.
Okay. Bye.
Well, that was lovely. And that was a good story. Good inspiration, good hope, strength. Inspirational.
Thanks, Petey.
I
Thanks.
loved it.
Thanks, Bird.
Yeah, welcome everybody that showed up here. And towards the end, love y'all, love y'all, love y'all. Let's read our
Any thought of the day?
the other one.
Just for today.
Just for today. Let's see if it's on topic. Not just lucky. The process of coming to believe restores us to sanity. The strength to move into action comes from this belief. Coming to believe is a process that stems from personal experience. Each of us has this experience. All addicts who find recovery in NA have solid evidence of a benevolent power acting for good in their lives. Those of us who are in recovery today, after all, are the fortunate ones. Many, many addicts die from our disease, never to experience what we have found in NA. The process of coming to believe involves a willingness to recognize miracles for what they are. We share the miracle of being here clean, and each of us has other miracles that await only our acknowledgement. How many car accidents or overdoses or other near catastrophics have we survived? Can we look back at our lives and see that we are not just lucky? Our experience in recovery, too, gives us examples of higher power working for our good. When we can look back at the evidence of a loving higher power acting on our behalf, it becomes possible to trust that higher power. And this higher power will continue to help us in the future. And trust offers us the strength to move forward. So just for today, my recovery is more than coincidence. My strength comes from the knowledge that my higher power has never let me down and will continue to guide me. Ooh, that was a good one.
Pretty sure that was on point, too.
Yeah, on point.
Point.
Thanks, Petey.
Yeah, thanks, Petey. Like you said.
No, I'm awesome, son.
Oh, that's cool. I don't know if the link's the same. Oh, yeah, Petey, we just did an impromptu Zoom. Somebody reached out and was like, I need a meeting. I need to talk to people. And I was like, well, let me throw one together. And unfortunately, some events happened and that person couldn't make it to the meeting. But as soon as that person's ready to talk again, I'll probably throw another one together. If any of you guys reach out and you are hurting, I have my time freed up now to continually support this group in any way that I can. So reach out and I'll set up meetings. We'll do one-on-ones if you have to. Whatever you guys need, we're here to support and give a listening ear if you just need somebody to talk to. And if you can, you guys go watch that little video for TJ in honor of his wife. He sent me those clips, and I didn't really realize what I was putting together until I started putting them together. And with that song in the background that he chose, man alive, I seriously sat here with tears in my eyes for a good 2.5 hours, I swear. But it was touching. So TJ, our heart and souls and love and prayers go out to you and everybody else in the chat as well. Still suffering addict, man, we're just glad to be a part of, we're just glad to recover with you because we recover better together, and that is that. He is I and I am him. First time
Oh,
here,
hello.
checking in, about to stop or maintain. Oh, cool.
Stop or maintain
Well, thanks for
addiction.
stopping in.
Deserve her addiction. There's the rest of it.
Right here, my addiction. Well, to let us know what's going on with you. We have a Facebook group. If you want to join, it's up to you. It's totally free. You just jump in there. There's a whole bunch of us in there. Most of the people in this chat are in there if you need any help. If you need Zoom meetings, we have scheduled Zoom meetings on Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. But like I said, if you reach out and need a meeting, I'll throw one out there, and usually some people jump on, and we can either just chit chat and make fun of Des and Aubrey, or or we could get serious and talk about some things. It's fun to laugh in sobriety too. But we're here for you. He is I and I am him. What song is that? He is I and I am him. Oh, is that DC Talk?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Did you answer Brittany's question about the
welcome.
links?
Oh, what was Brittany's question?
She just asked for the same link.
Oh, no, they're not. Well,
Or if you throw a different link in there.
I usually throw a different one in there every time. But I'm not sure if they're completely different or not. But I try to, and Sherry, I would ask that you do the same thing on Wednesdays. But, 15 minutes before the Zoom meeting, throw that link out there so everybody kind of pings a reminder. And that's what I try to do on Saturdays at 3 and Sundays at 6. That's Utah Mountain Standard Time.
Well, he is, I am, he. There's also Discord group you can join. Seeing as how you don't have the Facebook.
They won't let you get back on Facebook. Oh, yeah, we got a Discord. You can jump in there with us as well. It's like a text message. Huh? Well, let me shoot you my Discord link unless Felice just did it.
I win.
Did you do it? Nice. Well, let me get on Facebook.
There's a link to the Discord.
Did he say he needs help?
That was last. That's comment.
Okay. Cool.
Waymaker. That's a good song. That is a very. They play that a lot at the church we go to.
222?
222.
I'll hold you to that for sure. Oh, about the Zoom links. Okay. I'll make sure that I post them right before. And if I don't, you guys know how to get a hold of me. If you're part of the Discord, I always throw it in the Discord as well. But if not, you guys know how to message me. You can either hit me up on the Facebook group. Most of you, I've accepted friend requests onto my personal. I don't even care. I'm here to connect with anybody and everybody in recovery. Just reach out to me any way that you can. There's about multiple no matter what you text me on, it ends up on this device. So it doesn't really matter which way it goes. If you need any information on the Zooms, I can shoot you personally the link.
Aubrey.
Oh, it was Snoop Dogg. That's right. I knew.
What is it?
Oh, I could sing it here in a second. Let me think about it. Ricky's going to help me out.
Aubrey.
Who's there?
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Wait for it.
Gin and Juice. That's right. I was like, I know that song.
Ashley, I put the Discord in the Facebook too, so you can just click that link and you'll be in Discord. Knock knock.
That was one of my favorite songs, just like I'm sure all
Sipping on
y'all.
gin and juice. Were you laid
I'm faded
back?
now. Set my cup down.
Oh shizzle. Oh shizzle nizzle.
Oh, he's going to keep
Shizzle
knocking
nizzle.
on it.
Knock, knock.
Knock
Who?
knock. Knock knock.
No, I got
Welcome,
this.
Brittany.
I got this one. Knock, knock. Who?
Tank who? Oh, he said tank. Knock knock. Tank. Tank who?
You want to go?
Y'all are silly.
In a good way.
Tomorrow we're going to pick back up in our book. Wow, we're blasting right through this sucker. Oh, I wanted to clarify something about the book if you guys were here yesterday. Remember when we were talking about the rewards, allowing unpleasant consequences to happen to an addict if you are on the outside looking in, so that they can experience the consequences of their addiction and start to see the pain that it's causing around, so that they can get that shift in abstinence looks better than drug use. So that being said, allowing the nature, remember, and it talked about the husband and divorcing his wife. It's talking about the punishing. So remember, allowing the natural unpleasant consequences to occur is not the same as punishing the user. Because if you start to punish the alcoholic or the addict, that punishment makes the addict think that the marriage is causing the drinking, I guess, is what he was getting at there. And I kind of missed that. I was replaying some of the stuff, and I noticed that I didn't quite get that. But punishment is different than letting them experience their, because if you're punishing, they're just going to take offense. Our egos and our character defects are going to run wild. And so that punishment is going to make the addict go, oh, this marriage sucks. That's why I drink. I'm going to get rid of the marriage, not the drink. I just wanted to clear that up because I think I misinterpreted that part of the chapter. He is I and I am him. I love that song.
I don't know. I know the chorus and that's it. Barely. Not my genre.
What?
Hey, hair's getting long. Oh, look at that.
So he is I and I and him. What are you coming off of and all that stuff? Heroin or meth or alcohol? What's going on with you?
Hi, Jerry. Jerry says hi.
What's up, Jerry?
What's
How's it going?
up?
I'll say hi to Brittany's daughters too. Hi.
Hi, Brittany's daughters. You are beautiful.
I know it's true. I saw you in a Zoom meeting today.
Linky thinks you're cute.
No, that's just cleaning house, Bob. I did that in the basement, so the kids probably lost a bunch of clothes. Getting rid of the drink and other things. Yeah, it is, but I was just trying to clarify that one little paragraph.
Is that punishing?
Not if it's dirty and your house needs to be cleaned.
Oh boy, Link. Yeah, Linky's becoming a little hippie. He said he's going to grow out his hair. I'm just going to shave it into a mullet while he sleeps. You look good with the
Petey,
mullet.
you have a good night, man. We'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. Do we have anything planned for Fridays? He is I and I is he. If you need a Zoom meeting tomorrow or even one after the show, let me know. We can chit chat face to face.
Ooh.
Heck to the yeah. All right. Well, I think that sounds about like we're done. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. Jerry says everything is going good, and he just got home. Right on, Jerry. Glad you arrived home safely, and praise the Lord for you. Sweet. Got tomorrow off. Hey, Bob, why don't you read ahead on chapter 19, I think it was. Yeah, chapter 19, Addictive Thinkers and Trust. And then bring some cool conversation to the table.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
All righty, then. Until tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Thank you, Christy, for your story. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for being here for my recovery. Until then, don't put yourself in a high-risk situation. Stay strong, work your programs, and remember that we recover better together.